Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to another edition of our Girlington podcast. Today we have another special guest. So today we have Brother Abdullah Afzal, who, as you might recognize him from a very famous comedy show on BBC, Citizen Khan, which I'm pretty sure most of us have watched and laughed about. So without further ado, brother, want to start by just getting to know you a little bit. And everyone knows you as Amjad, but what about you as Abdullah? Where do you live? Where are you from? Tell us a little bit about yourself, a little about your history, just so we can get to know you a little bit.
I'm from Manchester, North Manchester, born and raised. In terms of Citizen Khan, I didn't do it until I was 21. I had a small acting career before that kicked off as well. I'm a normal guy from North Manchester. Grew up in Cheetham Hill. Played a lot of cricket. Tried to make it as a cricketer, didn't quite happen. Tried to make it as a Hafiz, Imam, didn't quite happen. So I thought I'd give comedy a try, and here I am.
MashaAllah. I mean, the Quran Hafiz stuff is something that I read about, and I was, you don't often see people who are in the media who come from that sort of background. How long did you do the Quran Hafiz for?
Well, there is a bit of misinformation. I am not a complete Quran Hafiz.
Okay, no, I appreciate that.
I went through. I was in Hifz course for a couple of years. I learned majority of the Quran, but unfortunately, my brain wasn't able to hold on to past chapters. So, for example, if I learned 18, I would start to forget the ones I learned a few months ago, and so it wasn't viable to continue. So, my teacher, my Ustad, told me that maybe it's not for me if I can't remember. But I was someone who learned a lot about Islam. I had a lot of Islamic knowledge growing up. I did speeches around the UK. I think that's where my acting roots came from, because I would write a speech with the Imam would really write a speech for me, and I would just say it was all right if I understood it. And then I would go around and do competitions around the UK, and I would win them. And a lot of times I didn't win them because my speeches were quite aggressive. Because I used to imitate people like Zakir Naik and people like that, which wasn't exactly what these competitions were about. So, I enjoyed being on the stage, and I always thought I was better than everyone else when it came to stuff like that. And I think that early confidence is what kind of catapulted me into the business, into the media world that I'm in now.
So what sort of age did you realize that actually, this is something that I want to do? I want to go into acting or comedy. Or which one came first, acting or comedy?
Right. So what happened was, when I was in high school, I did my teacher said, I think you're really good at drama in your lessons. So why don't you do an actual performance? And my family were like, no, they were straight away. You're not going to get into that. It's wrong. It's not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And what actually happened was, my mum was actually diagnosed with cancer, and it was like such a difficult time for the family that they just needed me out of the way. Sometimes they just needed me occupied with other things, and that's when I got the green light to go ahead and do this. It was meant to be a sort of therapy for me, because of what was happening at home. So I joined. I got a lead role in it. It was a Shakespeare play, and all the other students in it were, in drama and GCSE, doing drama GCSE, and performing arts. I didn't do any of that. So I did it, and the feedback I got was like I was head and shoulders above everyone else. That I was this amazing actor, which I never really thought for myself before. And I thought, this is amazing, because I find it so easy. Do you know what I mean? It was just so easy to me, second nature. So I did that. And then when I was in year 11, there was a big performance that year. I think year 9 and year 8 were doing, that was going to be done in a massive theatre and going to get a lot of coverage and everything. And the teachers took me out of a GCSE lesson and said, look, we want you to be in it. You'll be the one in the school that we really want in it, even though you're in year 11. But if you promise to do your work, we want you in it. So I did that, and I took it, and we went to the Lowry, and we got standing ovation. It was incredible, one of the best experiences of my life. And then I think after that, I thought, you know what, I might be like the next massive actor. Obviously now I've come down to reality a little bit, but back then I literally thought, how can anyone be better than me at acting? So it was really good for my confidence, and then it came to the point where I tried to get into college. I wanted to do drama. My family were like, no. Finally convinced them to at least sit down with my college drama teacher and see if I can do it. So on the open day, my brother went with me, big beard, sat down. I said, the first thing he said to the teacher is, will you have to hold any girls' hands? You know what I mean? It was weird. And I was like, embarrassed. And he was saying he's not allowed to work with girls. Yeah, he's not allowed to do anything dodgy, the normal thing. And the drama teacher said, yeah, don't worry, you won't have to do anyway. And then I started drama, and the first exam thing I had to do, the first time I had to be tested as an actor, was when I was going to be evaluated. An examiner was going to come out, we were going to do it from an audience, and it was a Harold Pinter play, which was, one of these plays that snobby kind of people watch, and they've memorized the script and all sorts. And I had to play, I was 16 years old, Pakistani boy. There was no Pakistanis in my class. There was no one like that. No one who spoke like me, who had my background. And I had to play a 70-year-old white man from London. And now the thing is with me is I'm not great at accents, So I'm in my element when I make things my own. So I just made that character my own. And this audience came in, and this examiner, and I played this old man. People were laughing and applauding, and at the end, again, standing ovation. And I thought that was amazing. And then the results came back, and the teacher took me into the room. She goes, I just want to speak to you. And she said, in the history of this college, you were the first person to get full marks.
Oh, wow.
I thought, right, I must be the best actor in the world. How can I not be now? This is just further, convincing me.
Reinforcing. Yeah,
exactly. That's it. And my confidence was all time high. And my drama teacher came up to me a few weeks later. I said, "Listen, there's auditions going for a BBC Three pilot called Admin, and they want to see Asian kids, and you're the only one in my class. So I'll send you over there." So I went to this audition, and actually, I missed a big part out here, because what actually happened a few months before that was I got an audition. I don't even know what question was anymore. I got an audition I found an audition online on one of these dodgy websites, right? It was a film about a kid being picked up as a potential terrorist when he was innocent and being tortured and whatever. And I said to my dad, look, there's an audition in London. I think I can be an actor. I want to go and audition for it. And he said, no, are you crazy? Why would they give you a part? You're a Pakistani guy from Cheetham Hill. There's no chance when they can give it to their own kids, their own race, their own type of people. Why would they give it you? I said, well, Jonathan's not going to play a Muslim guy terrorist. I just want to play the terrorist. And my dad said, right. My dad was convinced that I wasn't good. My dad was, because he still to this day hasn't seen me perform. He's watched Citizen Khan secretly a few times, but he's never came,
secretly.
He came to watch me live once. Yeah, he came to watch me live once, which was incredible because I never thought he'd do that. But he said to me, he thought, it's not going to happen. So he said to me, go audition for it. He said, if you don't get this part, that's it. You're crazy.
You're done.
No acting. Right. So I went to this audition. It was a short film. Got the part. My dad was like, what the heck? And I have to let him do it. They were the dodgiest people, though. They were the dodgiest people making this film. I didn't know anything. I didn't have an agent. I didn't know about money. They just said, oh, can we give you $1,000? I said, all right. And it was like 6 months work. It was ridiculous. They ripped me off. And then they made me do my own stunts. So this is a big thing, right? You know what waterboarding is, right?
Yes.
They waterboarded me.
Oh, wow.
And genuinely waterboarded you.
They genuinely waterboarded me. I passed out. It was the worst experience of my life. They beat me. They were mentalists. They beat me up. When they timed me to change in the scene, they were really punching me in my ribs. I had bruised ribs. I lost 4 stones in the shoot. They killed me and then they run off. I don't know where they are. But yeah, that was my first experience of acting work. And I thought, you know what? I love this.
Oh.
It was mental. And then, yeah.
So it was method acting then at the end of it all. Wow.
Yeah,
Did they
so
pay you
that
at the end of it before they ran off?
They gave me cash. Yeah, they gave me cash,
Oh.
and they left me at the train station. And then I did that, and then that's when my drama teacher came up to me about this audition, and I went to this audition, and I got this part in this pilot called admin, and I was so uneducated with the industry. I knew nothing about it. I didn't know how to behave, how to act, what I'm supposed to be like. I was just excited to be a part of it. I remember, there was a bit where the director said, "We're going to say action, and then start the action, and then I'm going to say action again for your dialogue." But I was confused by it. So he said action the first time, and the actor that I was in the scene with wouldn't say his line. So I thought, why are you not saying the line? I went action, and then I got bollocked because I didn't know what I was doing. I got bollocked. And another thing, there was no makeup artist, and I let my beard grow. So in one scene, I was clean shaven, and the next scene I got a mustache. Do you know what I mean? It was all mashed up. But I learned a lot from that, and then it turned into a series for BBC Three, and they changed the name to Lunch Monkey. So I did 2 series of that, and that was like incredible. I couldn't believe it. We're getting paid. Nowadays I expect a lot more, but at that time, they paid me something like 2.5 grand, 3 grand for the series, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I remember going into what's it called, Top Shop, and seeing mannequin with clothes on, and just say to the cashier, I want whatever's on that mannequin. Some sort of rich guy. So they got paid. But yeah, I did 2 series of Lunch Monkeys, and then I left it, and then I thought, I'm still broke. Nothing's really come of it. I need an opportunity. And weirdly enough, I used to always daydream about a show coming out where it was a Muslim family, because at that time I thought, if there's a show about Pakistanis or Muslims or anything like that, surely I've got to be in it, because I'm one of the best Muslim actors. I used to think that already. I've got to get it, especially when it comes to comedy. And then I went to this audition, and it was called Citizen Khan. I had an agent at this point, and the agent said, "Look, you did Lunch Monkeys, which is great. That's why we signed you up. This is an audition. It's a big thing. It's a pilot for now. They're going to be doing it as a showcase, but people are buzzing about it around the industry. It's an audition, and I got the script, and it said he's got a strong Birmingham accent, dumb idiot Asian guy." And I thought, I can't do Birmingham accent. I thought, how am I going to do that? So once again, I thought, I'll just do what I did in my drama exam. I'll just make it my own. I'll just come up with my own accent, my own phrases, my own dialogue. And I went in, and I remember it was Adil Ray, Anil Gupta, Richard Pinto, and the casting director, Janet Hampson, all sat there. These are people, and Anil Gupta, Richard Pinto. Anil Gupta produced the second series of The Office. He wrote Goodness Gracious Me and produced and directed it as well. So it was a big. Richard Pinto wrote Goodness Gracious Me as well. Adil Ray used to be on the BBC Asian Network, so I knew him from there. So it was a big deal being there. And I remember when they said, like, do it. And I could tell by their face straight away, they thought, he's doing it completely different from everyone else. Because I know all the other Asian actors came in and was like, all right, Mr. Khan. Like that. That's how they were doing it. Yeah. And I came in and went, "Hello, sir. I got a poster on my wall. I don't know." I'm just talking like a weirdo. And they were looking at me weirdly. And then they started asking me questions about who I am and my life. And started asking me, am I Pakistani? Blah, blah, blah. Or would I mind being browned up? These kind of weird questions, right? And then I got a call for the second one. I did it again. And then I got a call, and my agent said, "You got it." And at this point, it was a showcase. And I remember going to, and the thing is I never knew. Obviously, there were people who were offended by it. There were bits that were a bit dodgy, to say the least. But when I did the showcase, when I did it, I never thought anything of that. I didn't think it was offensive. I thought it was bloody hilarious. The showcase, the first thing we did, it was without a studio audience, but it was done like a theatre, and it was, I'm telling you now, it was hilarious. When you did it as a theatre show, it was unbelievably funny. People were loving it. It was one of the most surreal experiences, because I couldn't believe how much people were loving it when we did it. And then I knew, as soon as we finished, I knew we were going to get a series. And I got a phone call, BBC One, prime time. I was like, wow. And I went in and I did it, and it was a whole new world. I learned so much about the industry. There was so much going on. A lot of dodgy things happening behind the scenes as well. With it was just madness. And I was just thrown into it. And I think the bad thing about that was I lost my being during that process, because I was so suddenly kind of exposed to this world which I wasn't ready for. I wasn't experienced about. I didn't know anything, and every haram thing that came my way was just I justified it in my head as being okay. It was weird. I lost my deen there proper badly. When they say don't go astray, I was, you know, it'd be my picture in the dictionary next to astray. I lost the plot. I wasn't really bad, like I wasn't doing drugs or alcohol or anything like that. But from where I come from, being in the Arning course, Hifz class, Islamic speech, to this was like worlds apart, you know. And I did the first series, and I remember the day it was coming out, I suddenly thought, hang on, there's a few things in it that people might find offensive. But they don't know that it's not meant to be offensive. People might just kick off. They're convinced themselves, nah, our people are like that. They don't want to get offended. And the next day, bloody hell, it was all over the news that some people find it offensive. And then I remember going out and playing cricket in nets like I always do, and everyone leaving. And one guy coming back in and said, if I see you around this area again, I'm going to shoot you. What the heck did I do? You know what I mean? Wow. It was like mental. So I went through that the first year.
Abdullah, sorry, from a personal point of view, I mean, myself, I was a massive fan of it, and like you, I didn't really see much wrong with it. At the end of the day, it was a sitcom, and sitcoms are meant to exaggerate and pull those stereotypes in. There were one or two storylines which I thought, okay, yeah, that's. There was the one with Alia and a white boyfriend, and you're thinking, okay, you know, but then that was the whole point. It was representation of someone like ourselves on this big screen. The last thing I can remember majorly being like that was Goodness Gracious Me. There was nothing like that. It was the first sort of sitcom where you saw a Pakistani family on TV. So, and I'll be honest with you, I was in stitches every week with it. But reading around and you know, in prep for this, I was reading some comments, and one of the things I saw was that. And you probably came across it yourself, but this is you know, there's loads of Indians in the cast, and it's trying to undermine the nation of Pakistan. That was from a message board on one of these things that I thought, whoa, you know, taken a little bit out of context there, but you know, it's interesting to see the sort of reaction you got from there. But you know, wherever you go now, you're recognised as Amjad. How, you know, that typecasting? How do you feel about that? Do you play up to it? Do you?
No, it's very difficult. Well, before we get onto that, I'm just going to say a little bit about that conspiracy theory that you put out. You know, when it went out, right? A friend that I'd grown up with, known me all my life, sent me a message that had been forwarded to about 150 people. You know, one of those.
Yeah.
And it said, "Don't watch Sitting Khan." It said, "Adil Ray is not Muslim, he's a Hindu. You know, all the rest are Hindu, and they, you know, Indian conspiracy." And then it said Abdullah Afzal is a Zionist Israeli. Right? And I messaged him back. And I said, "Why have you just sent me that?" He goes, "Oh no, I've just sent it to everyone." He goes, "People are sending me, so I've sent it on." I said, "But you know I'm not an Israeli. I've grown up with you." I just whatever in it. Oh, knew whatever. That's the thing. People were doing. They knew, and they were still spreading it. They like that kind of drama, don't they, idiots? But yeah, in terms of typecasting, it was. The thing with the Citizen Khan is it threw me into mainstream. I did some incredible stuff. I did some things that I've always wanted to do, like Mastermind, unfortunately, and MasterChef, Celebrity MasterChef, and Pointless, and I've done all these kind of reality shows off it as well. And you know, I've done incredible things, and it kind of threw me into stand-up, even though now I'm a completely Muslim halal stand-up guy now. But it is an issue now with typecasting. It's like there's so many roles out there that I know I'm capable of smashing, and I know that I'm better than people that I've seen in those, but people will rather get someone else because I'm Amjad from Citizen Khan. That's who I am. It's difficult. It's mainly do different things now, and as backup plans. You know, I do a lot of different work now. You know, I'm a humanitarian and travel around the world. I've been to all sorts of places, documented because I've got skills in front of camera, so people want me to present. Do stuff like that. I started to do a lot of stand-up, started hosting events, because a lot of the acting roles that are made for me, I would imagine, have been almost taken away from me because I am Amjad from Citizen Khan. But on the other hand, you know, Amjad from Citizen Khan is what gets me these hosting events now and gets me these comedy gigs and stuff. So, you know,
kind of bittersweet type of both
it's
sides.
Just one of those. It's just. Yeah, it's just one of those things. But like I said, I started off as a serious actor. When I was doing drama in college, you know, I was getting full marks in stuff that was quite serious acting. But that's gone out the window now. They wouldn't even think about putting me in something serious anymore. And it's frustrating because even people in the industry that I, love and respect and I've enjoyed their company won't cast me in stuff that they do because I'm Amjad from Citizen Khan. So, but even your friends are doing that to you, it makes you think.
So one thing I wanted to just pick up on is something you said earlier as you were telling the story. So you said during that time when you were in Citizen Khan, you lost, you went astray in your words from the deen a little bit. At what point did you realize, or what gave you that realization, and then started to bring you back? What was that journey like?
I knew I'd gone astray, but how do I put this? When I say I'd gone astray, my iman had gone. I had no iman left. I literally, the only iman I had left was cultural. I wouldn't, for example, sleep around because it wasn't even from a religious perspective anymore. It was just how I was raised. If you know
something
what I mean.
You raised.
Deen aside, I wasn't having alcohol because I've never needed it. I never wanted it. Or why would I have it now? But if I wanted it, I would have had it. I had no iman. I remember having a chicken burger from McDonald's once. So, do you know what I mean? That was quite hard. So I'd lost it. I don't know. I'd lost my iman by then, but I was still playing up to it. My family would never be aware of that because I wouldn't show that I'd lost my iman at home. I remember there was one Ramadan where I probably fasted a couple of days. They thought I was fasting, but I was out having meals, lunches. Because why would you fast if you didn't have that iman in you? My belief system was destroyed at that point. I had no intention of fasting. I made them up now, alhamdulillah. But and then another third year at the car, probably a similar situation. And after the third series, I started looking at the people that I was around, and I started to feel like dirty. I started to feel a bit impure. I started feeling like this is what I thought I wanted, but I still must have some iman in me because everything I do, I feel like it's wrong in my heart. I feel like a darkness is creeping over me. So I thought, right, what's the first thing I can do? I thought, right, okay, I'm not going to start praying all of my salahs again because I wasn't at that stage. I thought the first thing I'll do is I'll start going to Jummah again. This was a big thing for me. Started doing Jummah again. Started learning a bit. Started getting my education back. Started hanging around in the masjid with the youth, with the mosque youth. I had no money, even though I was doing Citizen Khan, they were paying me very little. I refused to do any other jobs. So my days were spent in the masjid. Not even from an Islamic point of view. There was table tennis. There was the boys were there, and I started looking at one of my closest friends growing up, who was in the class with me, and I was ahead of him in my hifz and my education, and he'd now completed his alim course. He was a hafiz, and he was leading the Jamaat to the mosque. I started hanging around a little bit with him, and I thought, if we were to go into battle, I'm not making this into a dodgy podcast, but if we were to go into battle, I'd die for him. And I thought, would I do the same for the people I'm hanging about with in the other world? No, I wouldn't. But for him, I would, because something about him.
Yeah.
So I started listening to him, started praying again, started having debates with him, started getting into it a little bit more. Then, just as I was getting to the point where my iman was coming back a little bit, Ramadan came. I thought, right, in Ramadan, I'm going to pray all my salah. I'm going to fast all of them. Let's just take it from there. I've got the month off, I've got no money. Let's do that. I started doing it. And about a week in, I just had a breakdown. Just thinking that, what do I actually want from my life? And like I spoke about my mother before, I think I lost her when I was 15. And I remember thinking, if she could see me now, what would she say to me? And it wasn't even guilt. It was actually thinking that she would say to me that, don't worry about it. Start praying again. And what does your heart tell you? And my heart was telling me, of course, I believe in. There's not one bit of the Quran that I listen to or hear the translation of and think that's not right. I don't agree with that. I believe in every word of the Quran. So why wasn't I following it? I thought, why am I not following it? I didn't understand. So then it went from praying in Ramadan and fasting to between Tahajjud and Fajr, watching Mufti Menk's story of the prophets, re-educating myself with the Quran, listening to that, getting into it. Then I started running the shop in the masjid in the day as well, so in the mosque the whole time. Then Rishta talk started. Met a girl, liked her, families, whatever. Started meeting, and then I started thinking, if I had kids, what would I want my kids to be like? And I thought, right, first of all, this girl, this wife, she has to be a good Muslim, because if she's going to be the mother of my child, she has to be a good Muslim. And I thought, hang on, how can I tell her to be a good Muslim when I'm not? I thought, right, I can't be a hypocrite, so I need to practice my deen more. Started working on my deen more. In my eyes, I always thought I'm way more religious than her anyway, because she didn't have an Islamic education. So I thought I'd just keep working on it. Did Sinan Khan, the 4th series. I never told anyone there, but I wouldn't miss a salah. I would somehow find it. So I started to get into my salah again. But it was on and off. My salah wasn't fully there yet. Then I got married, and I wasn't still praying fully. And my wife would ask me Islamic questions. I would answer her because I still had the knowledge. She was praying every salah. She was praying Fajr. She was waking up for Fajr. I wasn't. And I used to feel ashamed. When she used to ask me questions about the deen, I used to feel a bit embarrassed, because she's the one who's practicing her religion. What the heck am I doing? So still, this is years now. This is 3 years, and I'm still in that, getting it back slowly, kind of re-educating myself, got my iman back into the belief, but my practicing wasn't there yet. Then the biggest event in most people's lives, had a child, and when he was 13 months, he got really ill, really sick. And I blamed myself in terms of, I thought I'm being punished, or my child was being punished because I went away from my deen. That was the mindset that I was in. I thought, because Allah has given me so many blessings, and I'm never giving him back. I've never shown appreciation. I've never put my head to I'm not doing enough. Started praying again. He got better, alhamdulillah. Still some doubts. Still something in my mind that wasn't clicking. My prayer was still going. I had a child now. Then I thought, right, what can get my iman going? I thought about this. My prayer is not quite there. What other things can I do? Can I do Hajj? Let's do Umrah. Did Umrah. Saw the Kaaba, broke down. Everyone does that. Got a little bit more in me. Came back with a dari. But still fighting it a little bit. Then I thought, right, charity. Charity is a huge part of Islam. So I started working with a few charities. Started doing a bit of work for the events with them. I started doing a bit of humanitarian work. And boom, it's what I needed.
Subhanallah.
Iman. It was like possession of Iman. And alhamdulillah, I could say this with complete confidence. I reckon it was from about August 2017. No, actually, a bit earlier than that. July 2017, June 2017. I haven't missed a salah since. Alhamdulillah.
Subhanallah.
I haven't missed a fast. I haven't done anything. I've done sins. I haven't done anything purposely in terms of putting my deen at risk. I've turned down roles with my deen. I've turned down countless jobs. I've turned down lots of money, because it's come to a point now where I say alhamdulillah that I've had a career, and if it was to end tomorrow, I'll do something else, because I love it. I love acting. I love it all, but I'm not going to put my deen on the line anymore when I've been blessed so much. I'm a dad. I'm responsible. I'm mature. I've got my deen in me. Whatever problems I have, I can face them, inshallah. with the help of my Rob. So I'm at that point now. I turned down so much roles, so much so that my agent fought with me. He was a huge agent in London, and I've ended up leaving him. And that's just where I am now. And alhamdulillah, I've never been happier. Yeah, that's to answer your question.
No, we appreciate it. Abdullah, just picking up on a couple of things there. I mean, such an insight into where you've been and where your journey's come from. I mean, I've seen you a few times live, and every time you crack me up. So I assume that you were from a comedy background, but hearing this that you're from the acting background, the comedy, is absolutely brilliant as well. If you ever get a chance to see Abdullah live, please do so. He comes to Bradford every year as part of it's the Penny Appeal, isn't it? The charity show they put on.
Yeah, Penny Appeal do a comedy tour they book before every year.
Yeah. And I think the 1 year you weren't in it, I think it was good. I've seen Guz Khan, Tez Ilyas, Nabil Abdul Rashid was there, Imran Yusuf were there, and subsequent years that you came on. Knowing what you know now about the industry, and you've got a little one, and I've seen your little one appear in some of your Instagram posts as well, mashallah. Where would you guide him? Would you send him into the industry, or would you do the traditional Asian thing and send him into education and doing the whether it's the Alim course or whether it's the sort of engineer, doctor, the professional sort of field?
I think I'm still learning how to be a dad. I don't think there's a right way to do it. I think there's you learn how to do it the best of your ability and depending on your kid's personality. With my son, what I'm trying to do, got a daughter as well, different story. But with my son, what I'm trying to do is give him as much of me as I can. Give him, hopefully, my comedy side, my performing side, my Islamic side, my family side. I've got to give him all of those things, and hopefully they'll come together a little bit better with my guidance than it did for me. And I feel like I've made so many mistakes. I'm literally the mistake man. I made so many mistakes, and the whole point, I think, of being a father is to pass on that knowledge to your son so he doesn't make the same mistakes. And knowing my son, when he grows up, he's not going to be an actor. I can tell you that for now. He's not going to do it. He's talented, but he's not got it's just not what I could tell. He's just not his thing. He's an artist. He likes stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised if he works in media behind the scenes or something like that. But no, it's not. This industry isn't something I'd encourage. It isn't because it's so easy to go wrong. Even the Muslim guys that are in the industry, that we look up to, that we respect and love, they're not exactly the perfect role models. I'm not the wannabe role models, but I'm not saying that the things like, for example, we know that there's a lot of Muslim comedians that we love, that are friends of mine that I love watching, but the stuff they talk about is dodgy as anything. It's vulgar sometimes. There's a lot of swearing. I don't want my son watching that. I don't want my son doing that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's a difficult place to be, because I don't think, and this could be completely false and wrong of me to say, but I don't think there is a way of being in this industry successfully. I'm talking about being massive in this industry without sinning. It's impossible, because you have to think, what is a sin? Swearing is a sin. Talking about anything sexual is a sin, if you know what I mean. All these kind of things. Even pubs and clubs being in that environment is a sin. Let's be honest with ourselves. It's a sin. It's not a place we should be. So, to answer your question, what a bleak thing to say, but I think there are ways to have a career in the industry in a halal and beautiful way. But I think it's virtually impossible to be a huge success in the industry without selling a little bit of your deen. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean the little things, swearing and stuff. A lot of us swear. I swear, accidentally all the time. But I don't think it's something that we should be proud of doing. It shouldn't be something that we purposely do for money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I understand. Just quickly, I've seen posts where rightly, and we're glad with the recent Israeli-Palestine issue. I mean, it's ongoing, but the one that flared up and was in the news lately, and I saw you stand up for it, like you always do for the causes that are right. And there were a lot of celebs who were in the industry, Muslims who didn't do that. What's your opinion when these people stay silent? We saw the treatment of Mesut Ozil when he stood up for the Uyghurs and what Arsenal did to him and how he was treated, and suddenly he's dropped and he wasn't playing and he was shipped off to another club just because China protested that they were going to drop Arsenal's games. What's your opinion on those sort of things, and these people that do stay silent?
I mean, for me, I can't really comment on them because I don't know their predicament. I don't know what situation they're in, and I don't like to. I mean, the ones that have come out and said, I don't need to talk about it. Blah blah blah. Them, I find idiots, and I don't want them even to think about them. But the ones that just remain completely silent, I find it hard to judge them because I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. It might not be because of financial reasons or work reasons. They could be many other things. But for me, I'd love to come out and say I'm just really brave and, I'd risk it all. But my career is dead anyway.
Don't be saying that. Don't say that.
No, I think for me, it's again, when I went through that period, I don't think I would have done that when I first started in Citizen Khan because I would have been afraid that I would have got in trouble. Sorry, 1 minute, my throat's gone. I'm drinking my kid's beaker. I think for me though, what's the point of having that little bit of celebrity kind of thing I've got going? What's the point of having it if I'm not going to speak up for the people that I genuinely care about, and these things I genuinely care and worry and stress about? I'm not the most educated, most smartest guy in the world, but the one thing that I have instilled in me, I hope my kids will as well, is the difference between right and wrong. And I'm a big advocate of just speaking up for what you think is right. And when it comes to Palestine, I'll always speak up for them. There's absolutely nothing that will stop me speaking up for them. In fact, I got a phone call from a friend of mine at a big TV station, industry media corporation, who said I was talked about in a meeting recently about the stuff I was tweeting about, and I was spoke about in a negative way. And he told me that if I can avoid talking about it, I should. I told him I'm not going to do that. He said he's done his bit. So when people think it's a conspiracy that when you talk about stuff like Palestine and Israel, that your career isn't effective or you're not affected in a negative way when it comes to the industry, is a lie, because it definitely happened to me. I know that for a fact. For other people, it won't happen because they've got enough momentum to break through those barriers. But for people like me, who are, here and there, it's very easy for them to just kick me out the back door without anyone really making a fuss. So I'm happy to do that. I'm not bothered. Alhamdulillah, my intentions with Allah, my niyyah there for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I've got no fear of that, any repercussions when it comes to stuff like that.
MashaAllah. Just coming back then, just a couple of things. I mean, there's a brilliant collaboration with you and one of Bradford's own, Tessin J, on YouTube. And I know one of the episodes has been released today. Talk a little bit about how you got involved with the scene there. And for those that don't know, the scene is a puppeteer from Bradford who does a show called the Nana G Show, and I think that's out on YouTube. Along with that, what other projects are you currently working on?
Well, first of all, with Tessin and how I got to see him, he just dropped me an Instagram message and said, "Look, I'd love to work with you." And so we did one little sketch together. I was in Bradford, I was on then. We did it with him. I thought it was a nice idea, the puppets and stuff. And then I said to him, "Look, you've got access to this cafe. Why don't you make like a little sitcom out of it? Put it on YouTube." He went, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea." Anyway, I went away. He messaged me saying, "Oh, I'm making this now. Do you mind being in an episode?" I said, "Yeah, I'll be the episode you're writing." He said, "All right, I've got a friend from London who can write a show." I said, "Fine." Sent me the show, and I was like, I don't think this is for me. He's like, "Why? What would you do? You're in the industry. I don't know what I'm doing. Kind of thing. I'm new to it." And his manager spoke to me, who I know very well, and he's like, "Help him out." So I said, "All right, I'll write you a script, and then you put in the Midpuri bits, the Patwari bits, because I don't know that." So we did a script together, and he liked it, and he said, "All right, that's episode 1. Can we film it?" And I was right, okay, I'll help you. I'll be in it. Then he said, "All right, how do we do it?" I was like, "Right, I'll tell you what." I said, "I'll direct the first one for you." He went, "Fine." So I directed the first one. And before I knew it, I directed every single one. I'd written every single one. I'd written every single one. He's like that. But we really wanted to help him out. He's quite new to the industry. He's a lot older than me. Or he probably won't like me saying that. He's quite new to the industry. He's come from the music industry, so he doesn't quite know the writing side and the editing side and the directing side and how to make the show. So I became that person for him. He wrote all the Patwari comedy stuff. I basically just did the structure of the episodes. I made sure there was a beginning, a middle, and end. I made sure there was a story arc, and that's about it. And then before I knew it, I really died making the show. It was really hard work, man. It was such a hard for me. I've never directed before. I just knew how to do it to an extent because I'd watched people do it. So I directed it, and it took about, I think we started in July, and we finished in March. We finished March, so it was a bit mental. It was really difficult, man. But we worked hard. We got it through. And but he's like that, man. He messaged me now saying, "I've got a really good idea. Let's make a new series where we just do sketches." Like, yeah, just give me a break. Took 9 months to make that show. I need a break from flipping nanas.
Wow, 9 months. You don't realize all the stuff that goes on in the background.
Honestly,
we just see this thing to appear that way. I've not watched today's. I've watched the other 3, but
it's like 7 minutes of madness.
Yeah,
it took us like flipping weeks and weeks to make. It's ridiculous, but
wow.
It's what it's because we didn't have the manpower. You see, we just me, him. We had the cameraman help us out. Then I brought a cameraman in to do some more other episodes because I worked with him before and I found his filming better. And then we got we had so many things, and we had to get guest stars in, and how do we fit them in? Where do we fit them in? Because Tessin was one of those people who I'd have a script, and then he'd message me like 3 days before and say, "Oh, I'll message Tez Ilyas if he'll be in it." Who the hell is he going to play? Not me. There's no one for him to play. And then I'll have to write something in, for him, and then I'd speak to Tez and say, "Look, would you mind being in it?" And this is the part, and he'll say, "Yeah." And then we'd have other guest stars who aren't actors. And for me, coming from the background I come from, that's like a big no-no. But in terms of YouTube and social media, Tessin's kind of thing, it's a very important part of publicity and marketing. And so he'd get people in, and you'd give them a script, and they wouldn't even look at it, and they would just make up stuff. And I'd be trying to explain to them that you've got to follow the script because you're talking about something it doesn't make sense in the story. They're like, "All right," and then they just come out with some absolute madness. And half the time, it did Patwari. I didn't know what they're talking about. And then when I edited a few episodes myself because we didn't have an editor at the start. I remember editing it, and Tessin messaged me going, "That doesn't make sense." I go, "What the heck am I supposed to do?" And this guy just come in, and he's talking about his uncle's wedding, and when he's supposed to be talking about money in the till, how am I supposed to join it together? It was just one of those things because Tessin was very much gag, get as many funny bits in, funny bits. Oh, let's get that celebrity in, can you get a goods card? And like, oh, for God's sake, let's just get the basics. But he's like that. He's very optimistic. He's very eager to make it. Whereas me, I've kind of been on that trip, and now I'm kind of just chilling out. So it was
for those of you who haven't watched this, this series is called Gobi Express. If you Google it on or whack it into YouTube. For those of you who don't speak Patwari or any sort of Punjabi, it might be a little bit difficult, but hopefully there'll be a fair few of you. Yeah, I'm sure there's some subtitles in there as well. But it is a really funny episode. I think one dropped on. We're recording this on the Wednesday and it goes out on the Sunday. So one's dropped today as well. Any other projects that you're working on at the minute, Abdullah, that you can tell us about?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what's the most exciting one. Okay, so I did I did a Radio 4 show last year called so bad that I can't remember the name. Can't remember the name. I did a Radio 4 show. Honestly, I can't. But I played what's it called? Where to, mate? I think it's called.
Oh, okay.
But it's Radio 4 in it, so. And I played, and basically the director said to me, just bring some of your Instagram characters into the show. So I played like a Spicy Saj, which is kind of in me, the character in me. I do a bit of a mixture of Spicy Saj. I played him as a taxi driver in this, and it's basically the show goes about taxi drivers and the stuff that happens in their cars. And I played an Uncle G called Muhammad that I've done before that went viral. And I did that, and they went to Radio 4, and they repeated it a few weeks ago. It's on BBC iPlayer now, and it's just smashed it. It's absolutely smashed it. So they're most likely going to give us a series 2 now. That's what I'm hearing. We're going to film series. We're going to record series 2 for Radio 4, and then we're going to do it for TV.
Brilliant, inshallah. I mean, some of the characters you do play, if you haven't got Abdullah on Instagram, whack him on. I've seen all of these characters he's talking about, so I'm sort of he's preaching to the converted here. So that'll something I'll look out for, inshallah. Those some of the characters are absolutely hilarious, and it reflects the comedy that you do. So and they deserve to blow up, and inshallah they will do. Abdullah, we're just coming to the end here now, and I just want to ask one last question, and a lot of people will be asking this: is Citizen Khan ever going to return? And are you up for playing the titular character of Amjad again?
So there have been talks about a movie for about 5 years.
Okay. Is that where you're all going to come to Bradford?
Yeah. Probably gonna be in Pakistan or America. To be honest with you. There's that, and then there's the Christmas specials that they're trying to do every year. They've been trying to get it going, but for whatever reason, it's not happened. But the truth is, I probably won't do it.
Oh no.
So
okay.
At the moment, I mean, I still love everyone in the show. I still respect him. I still speak to him. But it does depend on certain aspects of the script now. I can't go back to who I was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And also, if they pay me enough. Obviously, it is something to do with the script. If there's certain things I'm uncomfortable with, then I'll probably I've done that now. I don't need to go back to it.
We'll be honest with you. If they do that without you as Amjad, then it won't be the same. You were one of the main characters in there. But Abdullah, honestly, we really appreciate the time and the stuff that has come out, and the information you've given us about the industry, about your life and your journey as well, has been insightful. We honestly, from the bottom of our heart, wish you all the best in the industry and all the latest projects that you're doing. We do hope they blow up. Thank you for coming here. Babar, do you want to just finish up, please?
No, that's it. I'd also like to extend a massive thank you, especially when you started talking about your journey, because I think that'll help a lot of people talking about it. They say you shouldn't expose these sins unless there's a benefit. And I genuinely believe there's so much benefit in you expressing that journey from that low point to alhamdulillah where you are now and the success. And may Allah continue your iman and your deen on the trajectory that is on at the moment. And may Allah... So I thank you. It's not easy to open up like that, and alhamdulillah, thank you so much for that. So a couple of little bits from just housekeeping. So the masjid is still being built, Masjid Umar. So across the bottom of the screen, I'm just going to tag it on now. I believe I'm going to tag it on. There we go. So the sort code and account number, the GoFundMe page, and a way to contact the brother to pass him cash. We'll try to get this up and running so we can get the girls in September. So we need as much as we can. We need the last push just to get that masjid over, get that bottom floor done. We're going to try getting some stuff out on Instagram and that, just on our Facebook pages, on our social media, so you can see how far we've got. But we need that last push just to get it ready for health and safety, to do the last little bits to get that over the line. So please donate and help us with that. Next week, Akib, is the podcast Sabia.
Yes, next week we have another celebrity. We've got our own journalist from Look North, Sabia Pervez, who's the community affairs journalist. She's going to be with us talking about her journey into journalism and how she ended up on the big screen. So inshallah, tune in for that, and we'll get that out this time next week as well.
Again, thank you everyone, and thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam.